Hello and welcome back to another Silver Alert from GenCON 2024. I'm Nathan with the Advanced Age Role-Playing Gamers podcast. I'm here with Tomas Härenstam. Nice to see you, Thomas. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. Good to see you.
Nice to see you too. We just got out of your showcase, which was amazing. By the way, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know was coming. So there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So what's out of what you got showcased there? What made you the most proud from the audience reaction?
Oh, that's a good question. It's always cool to hear people enjoying things like it's something you worked really hard on, like the Blade Runner investigation mechanics, something like that, and just getting a response on something like that from the audience. That's always really, really cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is like these things are love fests anyway.
Yeah.
So not a lot of tough questions. So big announcements from the showcase. The biggest thing is a new Kickstarter coming this fall for the second version of the Alien RPG. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, that was the big news. So yeah, and it feels great because we've been working on Alien is one of the our titles that's doing really well and we're really all love working with, and it's been 5 years almost. And even though I think we did a decent work in the first edition, of course 5 years of people playing this game and we're releasing new content for it, and we learned a lot in the meantime, and we got so much great feedback, so we felt the time is right to just kind of update it. It's not like a massively different, it's not changing everything, it's more of a streamlined version, updated from the feedback we got, adding some things that were not in the first edition that we'd like to add. So it's just an evolution really to a second edition. So we feel now after 5 years that the time is right for that. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. One of the big reveals for this was that there's going to be more support for miniatures. So actual miniatures and maps built for miniatures, which we don't have right now. Maps are beautiful, but there's
Yeah.
So you talk about the.
Oh yeah, that's one of the probably the biggest single thing we're adding is more miniature support. Releasing actual miniatures, a set. I think we have a set now that we're working on that will be connected closely to the Rapture protocol, which is the new cinematic boxed set that we're doing. So that the miniatures will be useful generally, but they're also tied into that specific module. And that module will also have larger maps that are actually in the scale to use for miniatures. So you'll really be able to get those miniatures and use them for this scenario, which adds a new, I think, cool element to gameplay that is a lot of fun and has worked really well in testing. It's not turning the game into a miniatures game, but you can still play without miniatures if that's what you prefer. But the miniatures are coming in and we add support for them. And also those new maps and things can also be used in VTTs, I think, to great effect. So that's a big thing we're adding.
So they're not going to be like the smaller maps like what you see in Twilight 2000. They're going to be large fold-out maps.
They're pretty large maps. Yeah, they're like the same size, I think, as the maps that we've had previously, but they're in the scale for miniatures. Yeah. And there will be some other maps as well, but the big ones are going to be, and they're painted maps. They're not only the line art, which are pretty cool, but for use with miniatures, we felt we need something even more kind of in-world where you actually get to see what things look like. So we put a lot of work into those maps, and we'll hopefully be able to share them fairly soon. We're doing like the first announcement now, and then as long as things get finished and improved, we'll be able to show more and more during the fall. It's going to take some time. The Kickstarter is probably going to take place, we think, in October. So there's a bit of time to release, kind of show what's coming before we jump onto the Kickstarter.
Just for my birthday, so that's great.
That's great. Yeah.
So you're adding miniatures. Is there anything that you're taking out of what's in there right now? Hopefully not the stress or panic, because we love that.
No, we were updating that one. We're just sort of tweaking that because I think the stress mechanic works really well, but there are some issues maybe with the panic table and we just want to balance that out a little bit, but we're not taking anything out. I don't think we're taking much out at all that I can think of. Nothing material, really. I think we're more adding a lot more than we're subtracting, for sure.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Any other differences that you can leak out while I have you cornered here?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll try. We're doing a new starter set, and we'll try to make that even more beginner friendly. So that's because we feel the starter set that we have is good, but it's actually pretty meaty in a good way. But we also want something that is even easier to kind of get on the table for new players. So that's something we're doing. We're looking into solo play, which I think can be a lot of fun.
Okay.
We're doing. I mean, the new cinematic is also adding a lot of cool stuff. So that's going to be a big thing. So it's really a big package of stuff that's coming.
That's amazing. So I think we've wrapped up Alien. I think I probably squeezed out of you as much as I could.
Maybe I think so.
Yeah. But Dragonbane, near to our hearts here at the AARPGs. Path of Glory, based on an 80s Swedish campaign that came out from 85 to 86, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So for us Americans who have no context for that, can you go through kind of the what the story is and what are the hooks? What would excite players that maybe not familiar with the old series?
Oh yeah, because that's definitely not you don't need to know anything about the old version to enjoy this, and it's very much even though you might the core of the story comes from there, we've really taken it, made it our own. So it's not like if you would look at the old one and the new one, I think you would hardly recognize it's a new thing. We've done it from the ground up, really, basing it on that old original, but really doing a completely new thing. I even have a copy here.
Oop.
We just got one
Can I
of
touch
these.
it?
Of course, there you go. You can have a look. So basically, it's a pretty meaty campaign book, and this is and it has a loose map in it. Let's see, this is the one adventure area called the Dead Forest. This is also the name of the first adventure, and then on the back there is another area called the Eastern Lands, which is where the third adventure of the book. There are 3 adventures take place, and it's really an epic ride through the world of Dragonbane, and it kind of deepens the lore and the world. It has a kind of a old story fairy tale feel to it that is combined with some really epic stuff and some fun humor, and I think it just deepens the world and the game in a lot of different ways.
I saw the Sathmog symbol in there. So.
Oh yeah, and it adds a new, because in the core game you have the 2 main factions, the Eladine faction, the Dragon Riders, and then you had the Sathmog demon worshippers. Here you add the 3rd faction to the mix, so you have like 3 powers vying for power. So it kind of does that, and yeah, it's just a fun, epic fantasy story. It has huge dungeons, vast forests, just anything you kind of would expect from an even more epic Dragonbane adventure than the one in the core game.
Yeah, we are almost done with the core rulebook adventure.
Yeah.
We're in the time loop area right now, which is yeah. Oh yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah.
This is not a nice person.
Yeah, it is. It can get tricky, that one.
Oh yeah, we've got some big decisions to make. But anyway, super fun.
Yeah.
Love that the whole adventure model is fantastic. So enough gushing. Other things. So I've seen asked about too are advanced rules. Are any advanced rules in the works for Dragonbane?
Yeah, that is one question we get quite a bit, especially from part of the Swedish audience, because there used to be an old expansion called Expert, which was kind of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of made for more advanced play, I guess. And Dragonbane is designed to be pretty fast and easy to grasp for beginners. There is depth there, but it also has that idea that we don't want to make it overly complex. But there are definitely part of the community who wants more options, I guess, for characters, more things to do. So and I think the game can, for those who want that, that's actually something that I think would be great for the game. So we're looking into an expert book, and that could it won't replace anything in the core game, but it will add options, new heroic abilities, new secondary skills. New professions, so just more maybe rules for larger battles, the base building, and things like that. So just kind of expand the game with more options and rules for more things to do. So that's not done yet, and it's not. We're just starting out on that one right now.
Okay, so it's probably like 25, 26.
Yeah, it hopefully could come out next year, but it depends on how quickly we move. Before then, we have another campaign book that describes a fantasy city, and also a book of magic, which is a whole book kind of this size that focuses on only expanding the magic system. With instead of 3 schools of magic, there'll be like 15 or something. So it's going to really expand.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a huge. I mean, 3 to 15. That's,
so it's a big change, and also includes like things like alchemy, guidelines for magical weapons and items, and things like that. So everything magic. So that's actually on the horizon before the other expert book.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Love the Dragonbane. Can't wait to get my book. And the last thing I want to talk about is, we were also big fans of Twilight 2000, and kind of that Operation Reset thing is still kind of nobody asked about that in there. So I was surprised about it.
Yeah.
Can you anything coming?
Yeah. It's now we just released a few weeks back the second part of the Hostile Waters, which is like the second part after Urban Operations, and both of them include bits of Operation Reset. And then the module that will itself be called Operation Reset is like the third part tying it together. And that one it's in progress. I don't have a date or anything yet, but definitely we are aiming to get that out. Well, definitely during next year. I don't think it'll be out before the end of this year. It's probably too soon. Okay. But definitely, so we really want to sort of tie the knot on that whole thing and get that one out there. Because it's kind of a personal favorite of mine that I've been, working on for some time. So.
Well, we really like it too. I'm gonna. We're planning on going back to our original characters that we played when the alpha came out.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I'm going to torture them in interesting ways.
Sounds good.
And I'm going to have an off microphone question for Thomas that you guys can't hear about. Spoilers. But is there anything else that you want to bring up? Because I think I've satisfied my curiosity.
I mean, there's a lot, but I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for the time. Always like talking to you, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation. And we'll bring you more GenCon soon.